let's get down to business. And our business that we got to get down to is this ESPN Band of the Year. Let's talk about it. Now, let's go ahead and just get this out the way real quick. Shout out to John Grant, who I had the pleasure of meeting when I was at HBCU game day last year. Big shout out to John Grant. I think what he's been able to do with the Celebration Bowl, also what he's been able to do with, attempt to do with the Band of the Year, I think is admirable. But I got a couple of issues here. And let's get the first things out of the way. So those don't know, it's broken up to Division 1, Division 2. We know that Division 1 is Division 2, you got Virginia State and Miles that'll be traveling. And then you got North Carolina A&T, who will be returning, and Florida A&M. Now, I got no problem with any of those four programs. No problem at all. Shout out to my frat brother, Willie Snipes at Miles College. Do your thing, my man. I will be rooting. I will be rooting you on. I mean that. Shout out to Willie Snipes. All hail. I have a problem with a couple things with the ESPN Band of the Year. I do. And before I get into, you know what? I don't even see why. There's no reason to not get into it. Let's go ahead and pull up the site. Yes, I know. Okay, it's not. Of course, it's not wanting to share. Thank you. Goodness gracious. All right, the rankings. Let's break down how these rankings are done. And I'm gonna tell you why this has been so tumultuous amongst the band community, and why you're probably going to get the exact same turnout that you got last year. All right. Performances are judged on an individual basis, with judges giving scores for specific areas only. Bands are encouraged to submit a performance to be judged monthly. The committee is co-chaired by Jackson State Director of Band Admissions, Professor Dowell Taylor, and Dr. Julian White, FAMU Director of Band Admissions. The next update will come in late October. The top 15 will be reduced to top 10 overall. You say, okay, that's over. So we see how the rankings are released. They're released each month, right? And then your final cumulative. Then you have your scoring. You got musicality, pictures, drill and design, percussion, drum majors, auxiliaries, dance flags, majorettes. The highest possible points per band is 330. So, let me go ahead and say this. Let me go ahead and say something real quick. And this is where it starts to break down a bit for me. If we're speaking objectively, this was the score. The score is going into this month, right? Now, the last month, the month previous, Jackson State University was ranked number 3. Ranked number 3. Can anybody objectively who's been watching the band, can anybody objectively tell me what was the decrease in quality in Jackson State from October to November that dropped them from number 3 to number 8? That in itself should let you know that there is something fundamentally wrong with this ranking system. And I will go further to say that the people who are involved at the highest level are not only are you not taking any of this into account, you don't even know what you're doing. Now, originally, how it was proposed to everyone was, hey, you've got D2 directors voting on D1, D1 voting on D2. That's going to keep it fair. Okay. Here's the problem that comes in with that. If I'm a Division 1 or Division 2 collegiate band director of bands, which is a beyond full-time job, beyond full-time job. We're really talking 10 to 14-hour days during marching season. 5 days a week for practice, and then game day, which leaves Sunday to prep for the week, to review your own footage, to make the necessary adjustments for your own band, and to direct your staff on what to do, right? So we're talking 80 to 100 hours a week, if we're being completely honest with you. How on earth am I able to objectively and timing-wise judge 15 bands out, 14 outside of mine? How? How is it possible? And how is it that even with all of that, every week, and don't get me wrong, again, I understand propaganda. Every week, everybody, with the exception, this is no disrespect because it's Aggies, I love y'all, but y'all take this stuff too sensitively. When people ask questions about it, when people ask actual questions about it, y'all automatically think that people are coming after BGMM, and that is not the case. We just have questions on things that are quite literally nonsensical. It makes no sense. I agree, Sonic Boom. You do have people acting like anyone who questions how the bands are scored is crazy. So that's my first thing. The second thing is they say you can submit once a month, whatever the case may be. How on earth are they getting most of this material? I'm gonna tell you how they're getting most of this material. They're getting it from Smash, from Showtime, from Killer Kev, from JTV, even KB the Bandhead, which I have some issues there. But they're getting it from BandTube HD, which I have some issues there. But they're getting it from the creators in the space who are putting it out there. So then my next question is, how are the very people who are making it possible for you to access all of this not involved in the voting process? How do you not have the input how do you not have an ambassador program for the Killer Kevs and the Showtimes and the Smash and the Passion Is Network? How do you not have the people who are actually providing the content as a part of the creative decisions, or at least the voting in which this goes? And for everybody who sits there and just says, oh, well, I mean, look, man, it's just a band. I listen to people get up here on this YouTube and on X and even some on HBCU Plus. And they talk about how, because they played this game, that they understand the game of football at a high level that the average person that does not understand. Listen, I'll defer to that. I told y'all before, I'm a baseball guy. I told you that before. But why is it that when it comes to the bands, and somebody who knows this at the highest level questions something about it, you automatically discredit them as being butthurt because their school isn't number one? Absolutely insane. Because let me say this, I'm not even saying it to say that I should be one of the judges, but this is what I do know. I picked up a tuba for the first time 31 years ago. I have played for presidents, senators, governors, congressmen, congresswomen, you name it. I've traveled all across this country. I have forgotten more scales than most people will ever know. I have marched more drills than a lot of people have walked in their entire lifetime. And there are still people who know this at a level much higher than me. So how are they not included in the decision making, in the voting that goes into this? Because what ends up happening is the Killer Kevs, the Smash, the Passion Is Networks, Diary of a Lady Band Director, these folks are trusted sources to this band community. If they're not involved with it, well, I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. I want to address this question. We're going to go to commercial break. Why can't they do one simple thing? Have 2 or 3 bands record a demo performance so they can give an example of how bands are judged. I think that will completely eliminate. Transparency in it, and I think that's the problem. That's why. But we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to break down what I believe to be the actual solution to this. Say the Quad with Nick Eden.
Technology lets you monitor your pet when you're not at home. But to monitor threats to your hybrid workforce wherever they are, you need more than technology. You need CDW, who gets to know your business and can design and deploy custom solutions with pre-configured HP notebooks with HP Wolf Security. AI-enabled threat detection and remote management protect your endpoints 24/7, giving your defenses some real teeth.
Bummer.
HP makes always-on remote security possible. CDW makes it powerful.
This is not just delivery. This is knowing even superheroes can use a sidekick. Walgreens.
When I push, I feel good. When I pull, I feel good.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah, crazy story. So this morning, I'm at the Nissan Thrill of Summer sales event, taking a test drive. When Dave, the sales guy, is like, "You're gonna love this." He shows me the best-in-class fuel economy and lets me know it's recommended by Consumer Reports. When Dave says, "These cars are going fast," I knew I had to have that Rogue.
Nissan offers 6 vehicles starting under $30,000, like Rogue, with 2.9% financing for 60 months.
No charger?
It's a Mac. The battery lasts all day. See you next week.
Welcome back to In the Quad with Nick Eden. It is 22 past the hour. Let me go ahead and say this real quick. I don't want anybody to think that I am disparaging the ESPN Band of the Year. Let me just go ahead and say that. Again, I appreciate what John Grant is trying to do. I just think that there are things that can be done to fix it. Now, let me be honest with you. What you're going to run into next in just 10 days, you're going to run into a situation, because I can tell you right now, if you're in places like the real HBCU Band Uncut, if you watch any of the, because I consume all of it. I consume all of the band content, all of it. And I'm telling you, nobody who actually consumes this and is actually a part of this band culture is excited about this Band of the Year. Nobody. None of the influencers. I think what they're banking on, A&T has a huge alumni base in Atlanta. They're used to traveling to Atlanta for those who are not in the city of Atlanta during December because of their History and Celebration Bowl. Miles is only a couple of hours away. Virginia State is right up the road. FAMU, huge alumni base in in Atlanta. If I'm not mistaken, I think Atlanta is FAMU's second biggest market for their second biggest alumni association. I could be wrong. So I do think that they're banking on, hey, that's going to do it. But you're not going to get that with just the people. Like, you want the band heads. And I think that's one of the reasons they include, and I will give them props for being strategic about including the high school bands too. So you will get some of the people who are coming to see their high school bands. I don't think it's going to be a lot more. I just don't. I don't think it's going to be a lot more. I don't think that it is. I think what you're going to run into, because make no mistake about it, adding the high schools was absolutely a response to how many people did not show up last year. But you're not going to fill that place up. And anybody who thinks that you can't fill that place up in Atlanta with band heads, I would direct you to the Honda Battle of the Bands. Because when Honda Battle of the Bands was in Atlanta, it was popping. We're talking pre-pandemic. It could rival a lot of games that went on in the dome. So this is how you fix it. And I will, if somebody clip this, I may clip it and send it to Mr. Grant, because I really want to see this. I really want to see this succeed. The first thing you need to do is you need to expand the voting power. The same way that you take applications for credentials to cover the game, you need to take applications for ambassadors and influencers. You cannot, this is as simple as running an affinity program. I did the same thing for Harley Davidson when I was a contractor with US Bank. You go to where people of influence are. And those people of influence go to their fan bases, and they bring their fan bases in because they are now part of the process. So the people I mentioned before, Smash, Showtime Web, Killer Kev, JTV, Sonic Boom C98, Passioneers Network, Luke and all them, Crystal, Diary of a Lady Band Director. There are so many out there with millions upon millions of views that drive the HBCU space on YouTube is dominated by marching bands. Don't take my word for it. Look at the numbers. Killer Kev and Showtime Web get more views than anybody sitting around talking about football, basketball, baseball, or soccer. That's just the truth. Now, you reach out to them first. You create an ambassador program. An ambassador program that highlights the people who have given to this space and made this space hot to begin with, and they should have voting power. You give a I agree with making a demo performance and going in and saying, okay, this is how everything is judged. You got to have some transparency on it. Otherwise, people are just going to be like, this is just it's a cash grab for band folks, and we're not going for it. Honestly, people are more excited about the Honda in Inglewood than they are Band of the Year. But again, when you actually include band culture, then you get better results. So that's the first thing you do. Second, I don't, and this is no shot at them, because I don't even know that they're going to be hosting. If I see Jay Walker and Tiffany Green hosting anything to do with bands, I'm going to pull what hair I have left out of my head. Why do you not have someone like Curtis Akeem, who, again, garners millions of views on band content on TikTok and Facebook? Why do you not have someone like Six Guy Lorenzo, who garners hundreds of thousands of views on Instagram, dealing largely with band content? You're going to need a host that is from the culture, of the culture, and will excite people who consume the culture to come to the event. Because I'm telling you, if you can do that, you will get people who have no intention of going to the Celebration Bowl to come just to ESPN Band of the Year. The next thing you do, you get the organizations involved. Where's Mike? How do you not have Phi Mu Alpha involved in some form or fashion? How do you not have Kappa Kappa Psi involved in some form or fashion? How do you not have Tau Beta Sigma, Sigma Alpha Iota, Mu Phi Epsilon, Mu Phi Sigma, RDO? How do you not have the band and music organizations involved in this in some way? See, the Honda understood this. And for a while, we had a whole, Phi Mu Alpha and Sigma Alpha Iota had a whole annual trip to the Honda. That was our, damn near our national convention. Our Sig Phi connection, that's what we did. Look, we are buying rooms. We're buying blocks of rooms at the host hotel. We're buying blocks of tickets. We are sponsoring. We're giving money back to the bands. We're giving money back to the organizations. We're giving money back to the schools. Ask anybody who went to the Honda pre-pandemic. Because all you saw was red, black, and gold, and red and white, and blue, white, and gold, and purple and white. How do you not have the organizations who are literal mission and our point of being is advancing music in America, and what's supposed to be one of the biggest band events of the year, not involved at all. Insane. Absolutely insane. And again, this ain't a shot at A&T. It's not. And there are other cases. If I went through month by month and just broke this list down, there are other cases of it, because I wasn't going to touch it. I ain't going to hold you. I wasn't going to touch it. Because I'm kind of at the point now where I'm just like, y'all, it's beyond me. But it was such a glaring reality to see the sonic boom of the South go from number 3 to number 8 in 1 month, when nobody can tell me realistically what about the quality. Because again, those of us who consume the culture, we've been watching the field show, 0 quarter and 5th quarter of Jackson State every week in between. What about the quality drop? What about it drop? So drastically that it goes from number 3 to number 8. And then when you go back and you look at some of the other schools, you had Alabama State go from 5 to 9. You had South Carolina State. I think South Carolina State dropped completely off the list when they were like number 4 at some point. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't. So I think you'll get a little bit of a boost this year because you will have local high schools there. Unless you're about to tell me that Southwest DeKalb is not in the top 2. And at that point, y'all can wrap it up. But if you're trying to do this again in 2025, you're going to have to make those necessary changes in order to actually have a successful event. Because for this to be the band of the year, quite literally, every other ballot of the band across the country has a higher attendance than you, and it will continue that way until you make the necessary changes that include the culture. All right, y'all.